That's right. More talk tonight about whether you should have to pay to use the proposed I-10 bridge over the Mobile River.
That talk is coming after an Atlanta-based company compiled cell phone data to see how many people were crossing the bay and where those people were from.
That information could be used for arguments in favor of making the bridge a toll bridge.
Well, Fox 10 News reporter Candace Murphy got her hands on all that data today. Candace, when was all this information collected?
Well, Bob Alanis, the Atlanta-based company AirSage, gathered people's information from their cell phones on July 2nd and one day last November. Now, what that information shows is no big surprise, but what that data could be used for, well, that could come as a surprise. If you're heading to the Gulf Coast beaches for some sunshine, the Lone Star State for a rodeo, or California to watch your football team play in the Rose Bowl, chances are if you're driving, you're taking Interstate 10.
Because I-10 travels from Los Angeles all the way from Pacific to the Atlantic Ocean.
Kevin Harrison with the South Alabama Regional Planning Commission says a company named AirSage measured the number of drivers who take the Bayway and Causeway during a typical fall and summer day.
This company has the ability to capture all the cell phones in the country, average them and archive them. So we asked them, since you have the average location of where these people live, can you capture everybody on the Bayway?
So how does this all work? Well, Harrison says anytime there's activity on your cell phone, like text messaging, if you're making a phone call, or even using an app on your cell phone, that information is sent to a cell tower. The company AirSage can archive the time and location of that activity.
Just on November 13th, there's 96,500 people crossing the Mobile River. That's the Wallace Tunnel, the Bankhead Tunnel, and the Cochran Bridge. On July 2nd, there was 107,000 cars crossing the river.
The data shows on November 13th, about 75% of the traffic was local from Mobile and Baldwin counties. But on July 2nd, just over half, about 55% of the traffic was local. That means nearly half of the drivers on the Bayway and Causeway July 2nd weren't from our area.
Keep in mind, these data points, these cell phone pings, are both the Causeway and the Bayway. So, one can assume the predominantly local traffic is on the Causeway.
Harrison says the data gives a snapshot of who would use the proposed I-10 bridge and pay for a toll if that's the direction LDOT decides to go.
I think tolling has been brought up, and I'm not going to say it's an option or is not an option.
Last month, Representative Bradley Byrne told Fox 10 News he isn't in favor of the idea of having to pay to use the bridge.
You can't just toll that bridge. You've got to toll the present George Wallace Tunnel, and we'd have to also toll the Bankhead Tunnel, and we'd also have to toll the Cochran Bridge. Because if you leave any of those untolled, all the traffic goes there, and we just created a bottleneck there.
With or without a toll, people hope the new bridge will alleviate the more than 100,000 people crossing the bay on those busy summer days. Now, Harrison says that more data would need to be collected if LDOT does decide to use a toll bridge. He also says that AirSage, that company, processes more than 15 billion pings a day throughout the country from cell phones. And he says that data collected from the cell phones, that it's anonymous and in percentages. So he says it's not gathering your personal information. It's just taking the time and the location of that ping. For now, reporting live from the Causeway, I'm Candace Murphy for Fox 10 News.